Hi everyone, this is Jason Lanier here. I am a destination wedding photographer, shot all over the world. And today I'm going to address the topic of plugged in, unplugged, and standby weddings. We live in a day and age where you can get a smartphone, video camera, iPad mini, and you can do whatever you want with these devices pretty much anywhere that you want. Recently I did a video on unplugged wedding ceremony and how wedding guests are ruining wedding ceremonies with their smartphones and other stuff. And I got a lot of questions. Well, Jason, if you feel that way about ceremonies, how would you handle the rest of the wedding? So here I am today to talk to you about exactly those three things. So an unplugged wedding, guys, in brief, is really where no cameras, no digital cameras, no smartphones, DSLRs, they're not allowed by the wedding couple. The wedding couple asks their guests to not use them. They trust the professional photographer to get the shots. And more importantly, they don't want any of the guests to ruin the shots of the wedding photographer, and they also want people to be focused on them for the wedding. So, the pros of an unplugged wedding is you're going to probably get the best pictures from a professional photographer from an unplugged wedding because of the fact that we're not having to fight for space. We're not having people stand up in front of us. We're not having people fire their flash when they shouldn't, even though they don't know they're doing it. They just are. And guests actually get to experience the wedding. That's another pro. And rather than just sitting there and taking pictures all day, they actually get to experience the wedding, which is great. And the wedding couple is really the center of the attention. And let's face it, I mean, wedding couples, you only get married once for most people. And because of that, most people want that attention on that day. It really is the one day of the year where you get to feel like a celebrity, and people want to cherish that. So the cons are guests don't get to take pictures, which that could ruffle the feathers of some guests that attend weddings. Some people who love to take pictures don't want to be told no. There's that, and then in the unlikely event that you hire a bad wedding photographer and they don't get good pictures, then you don't have any backups. So that's one of the cons to having an unplugged wedding. So the other option is a plugged-in wedding, and that's where everyone is taking images on their phones, smartphones, DSLRs, cameras, whatever it might be. That's where the bride and groom are really encouraging the guests to take lots of shots and to post them and to do all those things. The benefit to that is you don't have to, usually at a wedding like that, you're not going to pay a professional photographer to come and shoot that and have all the guests do that. I don't see a scenario under which you would normally do that. The other benefit is that there's a lot of pictures from different angles. Because a photographer can't be everywhere where all these guests can be. So that's a huge benefit. The huge con to that situation is, number one, the pictures usually stink. They're not very good. It's not only because of the people taking the picture, but it's because of the gear that they have. I can't tell you how many times I've seen pictures from the weddings that I go to that I shoot, and then I see pictures that other people took, and they're not remotely close. So you should understand that if you go that route, your pictures are going to be pretty subpar. There's really no way for those images to be organized like a professional photographer would. A professional photographer is going to take all the images and they're going to cull through all of the bad shots. They're going to get all of the great shots and put them together for you. They're going to put them in collections. It's going to be incredibly organized. It's going to be a great way for you to very quickly see all of your images, see the best ones. A good photographer will put together a favorites folder for you. So that really is a huge difference between the two. I know that some websites exist out there to kind of collect all of the images, but they're not going to do what a professional photographer would do in regards to organizing your shots. All the wedding guests are not wedding photographers. They don't understand what it takes to shoot a wedding, not only from a technical standpoint, but from an experience and a know-how standpoint. So they're going to miss things. It's a guarantee. I guarantee it. I would put a whole year's salary as a bet that at a plugged-in wedding, people will miss what a professional photographer would, what a good professional photographer would. There's no way they're going to all get all of that like somebody like me would. They're just not. I've been doing it for years, and I can tell you the difference between when I first started shooting to now is huge. The difference on what I know, like I will innately know. I was shooting a wedding 3 weeks ago. We didn't have time to do the ring shots before the ceremony. Things were running late, and so right as we're getting ready to leave the wedding, I said, I haven't done the ring shots. I mean, I knew I hadn't done the ring shots. When I was a newer photographer, I forgot stuff like that. I'm telling you guys, you'll miss stuff. So if you're looking for a more budget-conscious way to have your wedding photography done, That's definitely the way to do it. The downer to that is, again, you're just going to have subpar pictures and you're going to miss stuff. Standby weddings. Standby weddings are fantastic because really that's a way for wedding photographers and wedding guests to coexist and everybody be happy. I don't want to discourage people from taking pictures because I love taking pictures and I understand that passion to capture something. I do. But as a wedding guest, you guys need to understand how important it is for us to capture it. Because if you miss something as a wedding guest, the client's not going to ask you. If I miss it, I could be held legally liable. I could lose money. I could lose my reputation because I missed something. And if I miss something because a guest is in my way or not doing something that they're supposed to do, that makes it 10 times as worse. So how does a standby wedding work? A standby wedding is where the guests know exactly when and where they're allowed to shoot, and they follow the rules. It really is that simple, guys. The pros of a standby wedding, you're going to get beautiful professional shots. Friends and family can still use their camera or smartphone or whatever it might be in certain times and places, so they're able to still enjoy in that picture-taking moment. And the friends and family might capture something that the photographer doesn't, only because there's 200 guests and there's usually one or two photographers, so that's bound to happen. The cons of a standby wedding are there is always the potential for one or two guests to just completely be rude and not listen to the rules, and they mess up the photographer, such as standing in the way and doing other things that are really going to screw them up. The other con, and it's happened at many weddings, is the wedding guests will take a picture on their smartphone and then they'll upload it to Facebook so they can be the first. Everybody, it's just like, the press, everybody wants to be the first one to post a picture of the wedding couple. Well, the problem with that is sometimes they'll post pictures of the bride getting ready, or of a first look, or of the bride in the wedding dress or something as she's doing bridals with maybe someone like me. They'll post it, and then other people at the wedding who are linked to their Facebook accounts or Instagram accounts will see the bride before the ceremony. It really does happen. Okay, so let's talk about standby weddings and how photographers and wedding guests can coexist, because that's what everybody wants, right? So, at a bridal room, the bride is getting ready. Obviously, the wedding photographer is in there. There shouldn't be other flash photography going on. There's lots of mirrors usually in bridal rooms, guys. The mirrors are usually an issue. Photographers, I always ask my brides and grooms to not have anybody taking pictures while I am. I'll go in there. It'll take me about 25 minutes to get my shots of a bride, putting the dress on, doing all those things, and then I'm gone. I think it's completely appropriate for the guests to take pictures before and or after I leave, because I'm going to leave the bridal room before the bride. I'm going to go down towards the ceremony site and get ready. So they can take their pictures afterwards, and I always ask them to do that. Now for the groom's room, it's the same thing. When I go in there to take pictures, his buddies, parents, and everything, they shouldn't be taking pictures when I am. And it's not just because of flash or whatever else. It's where people look. I'm going to talk about this during the group shots, but you don't want people to be focused on different cameras. You want them focused on one. So moving on to the ceremony. Once we get to the ceremony, the guests should stay out of the center aisle. The guests should not be using their cameras. The guests should stand up and appropriately respect the bride and groom, especially the bride as she walks down the aisle. They should be experiencing the wedding rather than taking pictures during the wedding, so we can get great shots of everybody. And they really, super important, they cannot stand in the center aisle, and they cannot be at the back of the chairs. Those are prime locations to take pictures. And then when the bride and groom leave after the first kiss, they need to stand and cheer and participate in the wedding. The post-ceremony celebration, as I call it, is when after the ceremony, everybody's congratulating the bride and groom. Everybody's happy. There's lots of hugs and smiles and kisses. That's a special moment. So as long as the guests are somewhere not in the range of the photographer, I don't care. After the post-ceremony, we usually start the group shots immediately. This is one moment in time where I do not allow guests to use cameras. I don't care if they're off to the sides taking pictures, but they are not allowed to stand behind me. And I'm pretty strict on that, and the reason for that is because I'll tell you what, I can't tell you how many times I've had shots ruined by either the flash is firing, but more than that, it's I'll take a picture and someone will say, okay, now look over here. Now that person, my camera, I'm going click, click, click. Literally, it fires, I'm done. That person will take 2 minutes to get that shot. They really will. Second thing is, if they're standing right next to me, it's a guarantee that somebody's eyes will be focused on them and not on me. And it makes for a really weird picture when you have 3 or 4 people looking at me and you have 3 or 4 people looking at the other camera. So I don't allow people to take pictures behind me. I also don't use and I won't take pictures for other family members. My job is to take pictures with my camera during the wedding. So when I'm taking group shots and stuff, I will not take somebody's camera and take pictures of that. If they want to organize a group after we're done, I don't care. That's fine. But when I'm taking pictures, I need to move very quickly. You guys don't understand how little time there is at a wedding. So I have to move incredibly quick. Most of the time, every minute that we're taking from the group shots is a minute taken away from the couple shoot for the bride and groom. So those extra minutes, those extra times where the group shots aren't happening as quickly as they need to because of guests and what other people taking pictures, you're stealing time from the bride and groom. Right after the group shots is the couple shoot. The couple shoot is a very special time. It's the only time that I have the bride and groom to myself during the wedding. And so it is very important that I am the only one taking pictures. I don't allow wedding guests to come and take pictures during that time. I will tell you that, for the most part, for myself and other wedding photographers, when a wedding couple hires us, they're hiring us for the magic, for the art that we can create of them. So because of that, it's critically important that I am the only one shooting them during the couple shoot. So no guests allowed. As soon as we finish the couple shoot, typically we're going right back to the reception side at that point, and that is the time for the grand entrance. So rules for the grand entrance are they need to stay out of the pathway that the bride and groom and the wedding party comes up through. They cannot stand up in there. They need to stay seated. If they want to take pictures, they need to be off to the sides, and they should not use their flash photography. Their flash will fire, and it will ruin some of our shots. Formal dances. A couple things on the formal dances. Number one, guests should never approach the bride and groom, or the daddy-daughter, or the mother and son dance. They should never approach them and take pictures. That ruins the shots for us. And for the bride and groom. You might be sitting here thinking, oh, Jesus, photographer just wants everything for him. Guys, I've already been paid. I'm really doing this for the benefit of the bride and groom, so please understand that. I just don't want to hand them pictures, and the pictures have people in them that don't belong in them. So understand that that is my motive behind what I'm telling you. During the formal dances, no flash photography. A lot of the times, at least at my weddings, I'll be shooting with video lights, so if somebody is semi-experienced, they'll be able to get great shots. If they're just piggybacking off of my video lighting. But again, no flash photography, and they need to stay back. So the cake cutting, guys. The cake cutting is the one moment of a wedding where it really can be messed up by unofficial photographers. So no flash photography, and wedding guests need to be really mindful of where they're at, because if they're going around to the side, we're gonna have this beautiful picture of a wedding cake, a wedding couple, and then there's somebody standing there with the camera. And it really takes away from the wedding photography for the bride and groom. So stand behind the wedding photographer, give them a little bit of space, and hopefully we'll all get great shots. Garter and bouquet tosses. These can be a little hectic. They're fast moving, but again, as a wedding photographer, all I'm asking you to do is, if you don't belong in the shot, then don't be somewhere where you're going to get picked up in the camera. The safest spot is usually going to be somewhere off, a little behind us and to the side. And then again, don't use your flash photography. We're almost done here. The reception, during the normal part where people are just dancing and having a good time, there's nothing formal going on. I don't care when people take pictures. Do whatever you want. That's a great time for wedding guests to get in there and take pictures of friends, family, whoever they want, get together, do shots and everything like that. So that's a great opportunity for everybody to have some fun. I don't care. And the grand farewell, guys, make sure that when you're doing the grand farewell, there's no flash photography. A lot of times at a grand farewell, you have people using sparklers or something like that. So we're really setting our exposure based off of that light that's emanating from the sparklers or whatever the brightest part of the picture is. So when you fire a flash, you really are destroying the shot. So please make sure that when you are if you're a wedding guest at a grand farewell, which is where the bride and groom are running out, number one, don't step in the pathway where they run out, and number two, make sure to not use flash photography. Now, I've said no to flash a lot. You hear it when you go through the rides at Disneyland. But the reason there's a couple reasons there's no flash photography. Not only does it overexpose our shots, but on a lot of cameras they have something called the focus assist, where it will beam a light onto the subject. It's usually like an orange or red light. That ruins shots, because even when your flash isn't firing, your camera, in order for it to focus, it needs some sort of a light. That's why it sends that light out to the subject. So there might be having a first dance, and that red light is beaming right onto a white wedding dress or a black tux. It's very easy to see, and it really messes up the shot. So that's another reason why we don't do flash photography. And one last point, I get asked this question a lot. Hey, will you use my camera to take a picture of me at my wedding? I always say no, and people don't love it when I do. I'll always take a picture with my camera if they want. because they are a part of the wedding. But you know, it's not my job to take everybody's pictures with their cameras. It's my job to take pictures with mine and to give a product to my wedding clients that they're going to love forever and cherish forever. So I hope this has helped, guys. I've tried to keep it as quick as I can. I know it's a lot of material, but when you can come together at like a standby wedding and make it happen, it's an amazing thing that can benefit everybody involved. So how do you communicate this? A couple things is with all of these, with the unplugged, the plugged in, and the standby weddings, as I call it, you can do a couple things. Number one, send a note to your wedding guests and an invitation. Let them know what you're expecting. Let them know what you'd like them to do when you send out your invitations. That's the perfect time so they can prepare the right way to come to your wedding. Second thing is you can put a sign up. You can put a sign up where the ceremony site is. Either if you're having a plugged in wedding, you can ask, hey everybody, hey, here's where you need to send the pictures. Or if you're having an unplugged or like a standby wedding, you can have people, you can put a sign up saying, hey, we're asking please not to use your cameras, your cameras, your phones during these moments during the wedding. So there are ways to get it done, guys. There are ways that everybody can be happy, and we just need to keep evolving together as this technology keeps taking off. So until next time, guys, I really hope this has helped, and I hope that your wedding, whether you're a photographer or a guest or a wedding client, I hope it's a wonderful success. Talk to you later.